Now let's talk about the reasons why some people say they would never own one. Well, the first reason is, of course, the looks. You know, the looks are what they are. There's nothing you can do about that. That's not going to change. You either like them or you don't. I actually am starting to like it. It's really ugly, but I still like it. And if you're a sci-fi fan, like me, you might like it too, because that's kind of why I like it, because it's kind of science fiction looking. And that to me is a positive thing. Now, you might just hate the looks of it and never want it. Or you might fall into that category that doesn't care about looks, you care about function. If you care about function, this revolver definitely functions. So looks would not be a good reason to buy it if you're more concerned with function. Looks would not be a good reason not to buy it if you like the looks, of course. But, you know, if it's really ugly and you just can't stand to own it and there's other guns out there that you do like the looks of that would work just as well, that would be a good reason not to buy it. So looks, that's subjective. Nothing you can do about that. Now, another reason I hear from people quite often of why they won't own the Chiappa Rhino is the size and the weight. Well, if you compare it to a Smith & Wesson Model 60 here, the size really isn't that different. In fact, the flat cylinder of the Chiappa makes it carry about the same as the Smith & Wesson Model 60. And as far as weight goes, it's about 2 ounces heavier. When I weigh them here at home, it comes to about 2 ounces exactly heavier than the Smith & Wesson Model 60. This is all steel. This has a lot of aluminum in it. But if you're looking at performance, you really probably don't care too much about the material for a carry gun. You just care about how it carries and how it works. And this carries pretty well because it is only 2 ounces heavier. And one thing you have to remember is this may be 2 ounces lighter, but it only holds 5 rounds and it doesn't handle .357 Magnum loads that well. This is 2 ounces heavier and it holds 6 shots. That's 6 shots of .357 Magnum, and it handles the recoil from .357 Magnum better than a regular Model 60. Now, the fourth and final reason I hear from a lot of people why they wouldn't own a Chiappa, and probably most common next to looks, is the internals. They think they're too complicated, and they think, well, complicated means it's more likely to fail. Well, that's all based on a misconception if you ask me. If you look at this picture of the Chiappa Rhino internals next to another revolver's internals, you're going to see they're very similar. A lot of people seem to think the revolvers work because they're super simple. They work because they're well designed, not because they're super simple. And the Chiappa appears to be well designed also. It looks like there's a lot more pieces in the Chiappa, but there's really not. If you pay close attention, you'll see there's pretty much an analogous piece in the other revolver to every piece you see in the Chiappa except for one. That one being the cocking mechanism that we talked about earlier, shown here. And it's just a piece of steel that rides along a channel and cocks the hammer. So it's not really a delicate piece or a fragile piece or a complicated piece that's likely prone to fail. It's just a simple mechanism. So I don't really see any future problem with that either. So like I said, pretty much every piece in the Chiappa has an analogous piece in the other revolver. Now they might be shaped a little different, in a different place, etc., but they work pretty much the same, do pretty much the same things. So as far as being more complicated, other than that little cocking mechanism, which is a very simple lever, it's not more complicated. If you can work on a Smith & Wesson revolver, you can work on a Chiappa revolver. They're not that different. They're both pretty simple to figure out once you take the time to look at them. So I'm going to have to say, if you're basing your decision to not try one of these based on complicated internals, you're making that decision based on misinformation, because it's just not that more complicated. So in the end, I'm going to have to say that every change they made to this gun is either neutral or for the better. So it's just a great gun overall. Now, I'm not discounting other revolvers. I still love other revolvers, but this is just something that's a little different for carry. A little thinner, gives you 1 extra round over most small revolvers, handles recoil of .357 Magnum better. Just a great gun. Now, is it going to win any beauty contests? No. But it's like I said, it's not that different than other revolvers other in its handling and its looks. So if you can handle the looks and you care about handling, this gun is one that I would say you should definitely try out.